How to save a drowning child. The lifeguard moving quickly past Lindsay's chair was seen coming out of nowhere. 4 steps later he was in the air, where his children were playing, jumping right in the middle. Before he could get on his feet, the teenager's guard had her 10-year-old pressed up above the surface and was backing up to the pool edge. Someone was shouting his child's name, and the young boy started crying. His little boy was drowning in front of him, and he had no idea that it was happening. It wasn't until the guards let her go and he ran away, dripping wet, in her arms that Lindsay felt she was screaming. Drowning doesn't look like what you'd expect. What did the guards see that it was not the mother? Drowning is not a violent, slanderous call for help that most people expect. Lifeguards were trained to recognize drowning by experts and experience. On the other hand, Lindsay had learned what drowning looks like by watching television. If you are going to keep your children near the water, you should make sure that you know what to look for around lifeguards. As a former Coast Guard rescue swimmer, Lindsay's stories don't surprise me, and I hear them all the time. Drowning is almost always a deceptively quiet event. The waving, splashing and yelling that dramatic conditioning television prepares us to watch are rarely seen in real life. Drawing response, so named by Francesco. A PIA, PhD, is what people do to avoid actual or perceived suffocation in water. And that's not what most people expect. There are very few splashes, no waving, and no shouting or calls for any kind of help. To get an idea of just how quiet and undramatic from the drowning surface can be, consider this. It is the number 2 cause of accidental death in children, age 15 and under, just behind vehicle accidents. Of the approximately 750 children who will drown next year, about 375 of them will do so within 25 yards of a parent or other adult. In 10% of those drownings, adults will actually see them doing it, with no idea that it is happening. The instinctive drowning response. Drowning does not feel like drowning. Dr. PIA, an article in the Coast Guard's On Scene magazine, described a spontaneous drowning reaction. 1. Except in rare circumstances, drowning people are physically unable to call for help. The respiratory system was designed to breathe. Breathing must be completed before speaking. 2. Drowning people's mouths alternately sink below and reappear above the surface of the water. The mouths of drowning people are not above the surface of the water long enough for them to exhale, inhale, and call out for help. When the drowning people's mouths are above the surface, they exhale and inhale quickly as their mouths start to sink below the surface of the water. 3. Drowning people cannot wave for help. Nature instinctively forces them to extend their arms forward and press down on the surface of the water. Pressing down on the surface of the water allows drowning people to take advantage of their bodies so that they can take their mouths out of the water to breathe. 4. Throughout the instinctive drowning response, drowning people cannot voluntarily control their arm movements. Physiologically, drowning people who are struggling on the surface of the water cannot stop drowning and perform voluntary movements, such as waving for help, moving toward a rescuer, or reaching out for a piece of rescue equipment. 5. People's bodies remain upright in water from the beginning to the end of the instant drawing response, with no evidence of an assist kick. These drowning people may struggle on the surface of the water for only 20 to 60 seconds before being rescued by a trained lifeguard. Signs of drowning. This does not mean that a person who is screaming for help and not in real trouble, they are facing an aquatic distress. Not always present before a spontaneous drowning reaction, the aquatic distress does not last long, but unlike true drowning, these victims can still aid their rescue. They can catch lifelines, throw rings, etc. Look for these other signs of drowning when individuals are in water: head low in water, mouth water level, head tilted back with mouth open, eyes glassy and empty, unable to focus. Eyes closed, hair over forehead or eyes, not using legs vertical, hyperventilating or gasping, trying to swim in a particular direction but not making headway, trying to roll over on the back, ladder climb, rarely out of the water. How to protect your children. So if your children are playing in the water and everything sounds okay, don't be too sure. Sometimes the most common indication that someone is drowning is that they don't look like they're drowning. They may just look like they are treading water and looking up. One way to be sure? Ask them, "Are you all right?" If they can answer at all, they probably are. If they return a blank stare, you may have less than 30 seconds to get to them. Remember, children playing in the water make noise. When they get quiet, you get to them and find out why. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe for more videos.